Welcome to the Game View, Week 10 against the Detroit Lions. I'm Sean with Total Packers. Packers, this first drive of the game would have some success offensively. However, you shouldn't get too excited about it. As you can see here, this is the second play of the game for the Packers. The Lions started out with their playing coverage deep, playing off the line of scrimmage on the Packer receivers. Why they would do this when defenses have been basically shutting the Packer offense down by playing them uptight and by stacking the line of scrimmage, I do not know. That's the Lions. They do stupid things. But the Lions did start off with a lot of off coverage, and that really helped the Packers have some success their opening drive. Here, this second play of the game is going to be a quick out to Davante Adams, and I'm sure you were thinking the same thing I was when you saw this play. You're like, okay, this looks like the Packer offense we're used to seeing. Quick passes on time, picking up quick yards. However, when you take a closer look at this play, you're going to notice something, and this would be something we would see for pretty much this entire game, and that was that Randall Cobb, who is up here in the slot, he is actually going to end up being completely wide open on this play, as Detroit pretty much completely ignores him, and he just runs down the field uncovered. Now, obviously, the ball is in the air at this point, and this safety is reacting to the ball. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so far off Cobb. However, there's no doubt that Cobb is pretty much left alone and would have been open for a big play on this play if Rodgers would have looked at him. I don't know what happened with Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb and Olivia Munn and Cobb's girlfriend down in Mexico during the bye, but I don't know what the explanation is of why Aaron Rodgers in this game continuously looked away from Randall Cobb and would not throw him the ball. Cobb was actually open quite a bit in this game and really could have single-handedly won this game for the Packers if Rodgers would have keyed him instead of Davante Adams. It's possible Rodgers going into this game thought that the Lions would gang up on Cobb and double team him like some other defenses have done. That was not the case in this game. Randall Cobb was open just about all game and could have had an absolutely huge game, but Aaron Rodgers was not looking for him. Okay, here we are, real quickly. Very next play after that dump to Adams. I got some yards. The Detroit had kind of ignored Randall Cobb, and he had sprung wide open. Here's the very next play. You can see Cobb down here in this slot. Again, the safety's going to kind of jump Cobb and then ignore him. Cobb is going to run right by him and be wide open. And so what? Because we have to throw the ball up here to Adams. Just making the point here, not necessarily that this would have been that big of a play, but just making the point here, like I said, that Cobb, we saw this quite a bit. Cobb open quite a bit in this game, but Rodgers not looking his way. Okay, I've moved ahead to near the end of the first half. It's still 3-0 Packers at this point. This is 3rd down and 2. Detroit actually did this a fair amount in the game, which is totally different than the defenses had been doing to the Packers, where they actually dared the Packers to run the ball. Here it's 3rd and 2, about 3rd and 3. And the Lions only have 6 guys in the box. They have their 4-wide defensive set with the 2 linebackers. So just 6 guys up there. The Packers actually have Richard Rodgers at the line of scrimmage, so they have 6 guys to block. This is 6-on-6 in the box, so this is certainly a advantage play for the Packers. A handoff to Starks should very well be able to get 2-3 yards here. But as was going to be the par for the course this game, is the offensive line is absolutely going to blow this play, and this is going to end up being no gain for the Packers, as Brian Bulaga and TJ Lang seem to not communicate very well, and they allow the defensive player lined up in front of TJ Lang to simply just go straight upfield, right in between both of them. He goes into the backfield, and now he's going to chase Starks down, and Starks went the first contact, the first person that hit James Starks tackled him every single time in this game. So anytime anybody got free and got a hand on Starks, he. Okay, the kickoff. This really is unbelievable. The Packers had just completed one of the worst first halves they had had at Lambeau Field in recent memory. You really have to go back a long ways, I think, to 2005 or 2006 game against the Patriots. It's the last time the Packers played that poorly at Lambeau Field in the first half. I mean, even when the Packers had Seneca Wallace and Scott Tolzien, Matt Flynn starting games, they played better first halves than what the Packers did on Sunday. So after playing one of the worst first halves in recent memory at Lambeau Field, they come out to kick the ball for the second half. And one of the only things that had been absolutely rock solid for the Packers this year had been their coverage on kicks. They had been great, a lot better than they had been in years past. And so here they start off the second half by almost giving up a touchdown, by giving up a return all the way to the 1 yard line. Essentially what happens on this play is watch the guys in the middle. This is Chris Banjo running right down the middle of the field. This is Demetri Goodson right here. These guys are kind of going to be the key to the play. I don't know if this is coverage left or what, but for whatever reason, Chris Banjo is running all the way over to the left side of the field. Here he goes. He's determined to go over here. Here goes Chris Banjo to the left. I have no clue why. This return is about to come up the middle. So why he didn't just stay in the middle of the field, I don't know. Plus, you can, kind of tough to see here, but that is actually Demetri Goodson right there. He got leveled right in the middle of the field. And so with those two guys now vacating the middle of the field, that left a sizable gap here. The Packers had one guy who was free, who could have cut over and perhaps made this tackle. Unfortunately for the Packers, what was again par for the course of this game is that of the 10 guys on the kick coverage team, besides Mason Crosby, Jake Ryan is almost undoubtedly the slowest of those 10 guys. So, and he is the exact guy who breaks free and has a chance to make this tackle. If it is any of the other 10 guys other than Jake Ryan, this almost is certainly going to be a tackle. But because it is Jake Ryan, he can't get over there, and Abdullah is going to break it open, and this is just a great hustle by Hyde here to momentarily save a touchdown. You know, Micah Hyde hustles. I've said it before. He plays hard. He hustles. I'll take a team with Micah Hyde and Demarius Randall on my team anytime. But that kick return would lead to a touchdown for the Lions, which would make it 9-3, and they would lead for the remainder of the game. Okay, this is the Packers' first play of the second half, their first offensive play. As we move this forward here, we're going to see that once again the Lions were willing to let the Packers take a shot with running the football. The Lions only have 6 guys in the box, and they would stick with that. They would fake having their safety come up in the box, but then right before snap, he would drop back into the 2-deep zone. So as we move this forward a little bit, we're going to see that. Rodgers puts Starks behind him, so they're in the pistol here. There, the safety is starting to drop back again. So with him dropping back, it is truly a 6-on-6 developing here for the Packers. So again, that is a favorable situation for the Packers. See, this play is working out pretty good. This is one of the few times in the game that everybody is actually blocking their man. And this is looking really good. Here is the lead blocker right here. David Bakhtiari is coming through the hole. He's got a bead on this linebacker here. Starks just cuts off Bakhtiari. Bakhtiari picking up this block. This could end up being a big run for Starks. Instead, Starks, for whatever reason, he thinks he sees something over here, and he's not going to run to the hole. He is going to decide to run back to the middle of the field and then get 2 yards. Okay, it's 9-3 Lions at this point. We're about halfway through the third quarter. This is third down and 8 yards to go. The Packers actually had a little bit of a drive going here, but this is key third down. It's going to end up forcing them to punt. What we're going to see here is the Packers have a combination route going on with Jared Abbrederis and Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is going to go to the middle of the field. You're going to see that he is going to be open. Abbrederis is going to, after start wide, is going to end up going in the middle of the field as well. He is also open, and Rodgers probably makes a bad choice here and throws a bad pass on top of it. As we see this developing, Lions threw a little bit of a blitz here at the Packers, like they did quite often on third down. However, the Packers this time pick it up very well, and Rodgers has plenty of time. You can see the route developing here. Randall Cobb is going to go to the middle of the field. When he does, the Lions basically sit in zone, so they let him go. And while Abbrederis goes for the deeper route, this is actually a very good route to work against the zone defense. You're essentially flooding the middle of the field. As we see this go here, right here, Aaron Rodgers should know with this linebacker standing still, essentially, that Randall Cobb is about to break open right in this window. And he will be open, as you can see. Randall Cobb is breaking wide open right in that window. But Aaron Rodgers is going to try to throw the tougher pass over the top to Jared Abbrederis. Abbrederis is open, and if Rodgers would just lead him to this part of the field, this could be a big play for the Packers, maybe even a touchdown if Abbrederis could make the safety miss. But Rodgers does not get enough on his pass. Abbrederis actually has to stop in the middle of the field to try to adjust for the pass. And the pass ends up getting knocked down, and now the Packers are going to have to punt. So we'll watch this real quickly here from the backside as you get another pretty good look at this. We are going to see Randall Cobb pop open in the window. There's the blitz, picked up nicely by Starks. There goes Cobb. Cobb is about to clear that linebacker and be open. There he goes. He is now wide open. But Rodgers has decided to throw it over the top upfield for Abbrederis. And that is just not thrown high enough or far enough, and that's incomplete. All right, the Packers' final touchdown drive. I've already kind of hammered the point home that Aaron Rodgers had a really poor game this game. Again, the offensive line didn't play particularly well. Receivers, had trouble getting open. When they did get open, they dropped some balls. James Starks had a miserable game, but yet that doesn't excuse Aaron Rodgers from playing absolutely terrible in this game. That being said, in these two final drives for touchdowns that the Packers had, Aaron Rodgers made some amazing plays. And I'm not sure why it took to that point of the game for him to start making these kind of plays. But this is an absolutely awesome play by Rodgers. He is going to key on Perillo, who's just going to do a little curl to the middle of the field. Even though Rodgers steps up on this play, he's still able to gun this into the zone, steps up. There he guns that. You can see the coverage here. What, is that receiver open? No, that receiver's not open, but he's going to throw a perfect pass and put it right on Perillo, and that is a touchdown for the Packers that would briefly give them a chance. Okay, here is the two-point conversion. We're going to end with this play and get this over with. No surprise the Lions would blitz here. The Lions blitzed on most third downs and big plays of the game. Near the end of the game here, they started sending all-out blitzes repeatedly at the Packers. Even when the Packers recovered the onside kick, the Lions then repeatedly sent all-out blitzes to finish the game. So they're going to do it again here, all-out blitz. Adams is doing nothing special. He's just running it out here. He is open. I don't know if his guy was a little surprised or was throwing a little off balance, but he's clearly off of Adams here and gets burnt pretty bad on this play. And if it wasn't for the fact that Adams kind of had to wait for that ball to get there, that allowed the defender to dive and knock that away. We're going to see this a little bit better from this side, from this point of view. You're going to be able to see the end of the play a little bit better. Some people can, try to criticize Adams, but say that he needs to come back for the ball. However, when you're running an out, it's almost impossible to actually come back for this ball. So right here, you can see that Adams does have to slow down a little bit as his ball is kind of floating a little bit. And that allowed the defender to get a hand on it. Could criticize Adams for not being strong with the ball and somehow, being strong enough to come up with this ball and not allow that defender to knock it away. But pass would have been out in front of Adams. That would have been a two-point conversion. Rodgers allowed the defender to have a chance there, and the defender made a nice play to knock that away. That would make it 18-16. That would end up being the final score of the game. We know the Packers did recover an onside kick. And Mason Crosby actually did have a good chance to win the game from 52 yards. He choked, basically. It's kind of a surprise that he did choke, considering last year against Seattle in the playoffs, he made such a huge field goal to send that game to overtime. That was probably about as big of a pressure kick as you'd ever see. And yet here in a similar pressure situation, he completely choked on that kick. Wasn't even close. Just terrible kick. But on the other hand, a loss here probably does more for the Packers than the win would have. I'm kind of a bottom line guy, so that may be hypocritical to say that. However, Packers played so poorly in this game, they certainly didn't deserve to win. And so, if they would have made that kick, probably all you would have heard about is how great the comeback was and how they managed to pull it out. And the fact that how poorly the Packers played might have been kind of glossed over. Now there's no question the Packers have to know, what they did. This loss has to hurt them. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to turn it around anytime soon. But certainly this was a loss that they deserved.